Welcome back to educator.com. This lesson we are going to add and subtract fractions with common denominators. So right here, this is a fraction. The top number 1 is called the numerator. So this number right here is called the numerator. And then this bottom number, the 2, is called the denominator. Now, when we add fractions, I have 2 over 6 plus 5 over 6. I'm adding two fractions together. Let's look at their denominators. The denominator for this fraction is a 6. The denominator for this fraction is a 6. So, once the denominators are the same, now they have a common denominator, then I can add the fractions. So, this 2 over 6 plus 5 over 6, I'm going to add the numerators together. So, the numerator for this fraction is 2. The numerator for this fraction is a 5. So, 2 plus 5, and that's going to become my numerator for my answer. And then for my denominator, it's going to stay the same as a 6. So 2 over 6 plus 5 over 6 is 7 over 6. Again, the denominators for each fraction has to be the same. Then I take my numerators, I add them together. 2 plus 5 is 7. I do not add my denominators, so my denominator has to stay the same as a 6. So 2 over 6 plus 5 over 6 is going to equal 7 over 6. Here we're subtracting these fractions, 7 over 8 minus 1 over 8. Okay, the denominator is the same. Here's an 8 here. The denominator for this fraction is an 8. So therefore, I can go ahead and subtract them. I'm going to do 7 minus 1, which is 6. And then I take my denominator, and that's going to stay the same. Do not subtract your denominators. Okay? So it's 7 minus 1, which is 6, and my denominator must stay the same as an 8. So 7 over 8 minus 1 over 8 is 6 over 8. My next example, 9 over 10 plus 3 over 10. Okay, so I'm going to take my numerators, add them together, so it's 9 plus 3, which is 12, over, now do not add your denominators, it's going to stay the same as a 10. So 9 over 10 plus 3 over 10 is going to equal 12 over 10. Again, 11 over 20 plus 9 over 20, same denominator. So I take 11 added to 9, I get 20 over 20 plus 20? No, you do not add them together. 20, the denominators are 20 here, so the denominator for this one has to also be 20. Now let's look at this fraction right here. My answer is 20 over 20. 20 over 20, if the top number, the numerator, and the denominator are the same, this is equal to 1. Okay, so my answer would just be 1. Okay, the fourth example, when we're adding fractions, adding and subtracting fractions, 23 over 95 plus 6 over 95. Whenever I add or subtract fractions, I have to make sure that the denominators for both fractions are the same. So in this case, the denominator is 95, and for this one, the denominator is 95. Since they're the same, I can go ahead and add the fractions together. So I take the numerators, which is 23 and 6, and I'm going to add them together. 23 plus 6 is 29. And then for my denominator here is 95, here is 95. So for my answer, the denominator also has to be a 95. Okay, you do not add the denominators together. The denominator stays the same as 95. So 23 over 95 plus 6 over 95 is going to equal 29 over 95. And that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching educator.com.